maybe it's an unshift, I'm not sure.
I think console.log from front.
Say it again.
You're storing in from front, right?
No, I'm just storing the one I shipped out. So um, from
console.log is A only. You are doing something with front.
Hold on, let me see. From front. Oh. This is just the S, the first letter, right? Let me remove this. I think that's a problem. It's just so slow somehow. Okay, so from the front it's just S, right? I think it should supposed to be shift supposed to remove it. Let's look at it. JavaScript shift. It removes it, but I think it's how it removes it. I think it just it.
Yeah, shift removes the first element.
Yeah, it removes it, but let's see. You're supposed to get back. Yeah, so you get the first element like this, okay? And the output is supposed to be, you see here it works. Why is it not working? You see what I'm saying? So if I do SA again, oh, I know why. I know why, because I know why. So first thing I need to do is, let's just call this string. Okay, so first thing you need to do is let string array, right? So I'm converting into an array by doing this. Okay, so now string array is actually nothing but splitting these the word, right? Now I can take string array and shift it. Okay, now when I do that, the string array from string array would be the one letter moved. Okay, hold on, let me see, where is the string array equal to this? Where is, what am I using, a somewhere? Oh, this is supposed to be string here. So now I have an array with AHIL, right? So A is removed in line 5. I mean, sorry, S is removed from line 5, right? So now I can take the string array and I can say push from front. Okay, so that what it would do. So this is actually S, right? From front is S, and then because when I shift it, string array doesn't have S in the front anymore, and the from front only holds the one that I removed, and then I can push it back. So now if I look at console log, why does it say 5? So string array is this. If I do push from front, it should push the S into, somehow it's, oh, it just, yeah, I should not be console logging. It just gives me a position where it pushed it. And then if I do string array dot join. That should do the work. And then console log. It's a little bit complicated, but once you understand it, now I got it, right? So see, now I have AHILS. So let's go through it again. So I have this word. When I split it, it converts into basically S, A, H, I, and L, right? Then I just say shift. So now it front end is just the letter that I'm shifting out, but the array itself now, the string array itself now looks like this here, where S is removed. Okay, so this is string array. Okay. All right. And then, so now I have this, right? So when I do push, what push does? Push basically pushes at the end, always. So this would be something like this. And then I'll join it. So that join basically merges the whole thing. So it becomes AHILS. Got it? Any questions?
No.
Chandra?
No. I got it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, when we do the string operators, you will understand it a little bit more. Array operators. That time you will know a little bit more how the push and shift and all that works, right? But basically what shift does is remove it from the first character from the beginning of the array, which is S here, right? And you get it from this variable called from front. Okay. Okay, let's look at the second example. So the second example, and then a left shift is a similar. So what left shift we need to do is, I want the L to be in the front, right? So what I can do is, if I do console log, let's do this way. Sahil string dot split dot pop. What this will do is give me the last. Actually, what if I just do this? Let me see, I've never done this. Let's see. I don't know if it would work. Yeah, pop is not a function. Makes sense. Well, first I would do string array, just like I did before. Split it. Then I would just say string array dot pop. So that would make pop would basically remove L, and I can say string array dot unshift. And unshift basically what it does is adds one character in the front. So in this case I'm popping popping means remove it from the last, which is L, and unshift means add it to the front. Okay, and then I can just do, I guess, join. So everything in one line. I don't know if it's gonna work. I think it should. Oh, this would be string array. Unshift. Oh. Let's just look at this much. Okay, so it did do it. And then I can just take this and I can say console log string array dot join. All right, so I get LSAHI. So here I'm splitting first, then I am unshifting, which means adding something to the front. But what am I adding? What I'm removing from the end, and then joining it back. Okay, just try it out once you get a little bit of time. Okay. Okay, so the second one is how to reverse the word I love India becomes India love I. So this one is very simple. All I just need is I love India. So now here I know that I can split by space because I have space here. So let's look at it, what happens. If I console log here, I get I love India, right? Then I can, once it's split, all I have to do is reverse. Right? So then I get India love I. Any question here? This should be simple, right? All right. Okay, so this one is interesting. I am a good boy. Okay, so, and I want only the word to be reversed here, right? So first I would have to split. So that would basically split each word into, separate, right? Then I can, for each word, I can reverse this, right? So then I can say, I'm gonna do a little longer way. So I can use a for loop. Okay, so I can say let I equal to 0 to I less than the length of the string, right? Length of the string array. Array dot length, then I plus plus. So I'm looping through the array. So I get each word would be, what would be the each word? What would be console log string array would be the each word, right? So then I can take that word and again split it. And this time I just, because let's say I get good, right? So if I split it, it will be G-O-O-D, 4 separate. And then I just have to reverse it, right? And then again join it so that it becomes doog, right? And then all I have to do is string array dot I equal to, and then if I console log this, okay, I get the what we needed, and then you just simply join it now. That this time you want to put a space in between, so that, let me clean it up. Right, so I get I am eht Dogyub. All right. Again, practice.
Emil, I was trying to do it with.
Say it again.
Yeah, I was trying to do it with the array for each.
Yeah, you can use a for each as well.
Yeah, I'll show you one problem I was facing in that.
Okay.
Yeah, in joining I was facing some problem. I'll show you.
Okay, do you want to show me now?
Yeah, should I share my screen, or you can go to my assignment, I guess?
Okay, I can go to your
Like,
assignment.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll go to your assignment.
This link, if you open this JSBin link, everything is there.
Where is the JSP link?
On the top.
Oh, okay. 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 So let's look at the first one. Okay, split.
Yeah, this
Reverse
one.
join.
Yeah. I'm the something I was having problem in that.
Okay. The first one looks fine, I guess, right?
Yeah, fourth question.
Fourth?
Yeah.
Oh, this one, yeah. Right? Okay. So you first split by space, which is correct, right? Then you have a for each. So now you get each string. So let's say you got good, right? The string would be like one of them, one of the word like good, right? So then what you would do, you would say split again, which is correct, then reverse and join. So the reverse word is correct. I think the problem is you need to return this. That's a problem.
Yeah, I need to return it and into string, like it was coming single. I was not able to make it as a one string. Yeah. Like if you run this, you'll see solution 4 will come like I am the, just run it, like it'll show.
Okay.
Look, it's coming like this.
Yeah, because that makes sense, right? Because
but you. The last one I took the help from Google, so then I did.
Yeah, I would just practice a little bit. It is coming because you're console logging inside. That's why, right?
For so each. What should I do in that case?
No, you need to just here. If I just return string, let's say return string, right? And if I console log now, let's say array split world, I'm just gonna say so that I know which one it is mine, right? Oh, not string, sorry, this one. Array. This one, sorry. Hmm. So you get a string.
Instead of comma, use plus sign. It will like add up here. It's weird, so you need to add do plus sign. It will be in a string in a straight line.
So you don't need, first of all, you don't need the array here.
I was trying to push it into an array and like trying something. Yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah. You can do this way also, like let array equal to an empty array. Then here you would just say array dot push the reverse word. Okay.
Yes, I need to define the array above the for each. I was defining the array in the then okay.
Okay.
Inside the for each, that's I was okay.
Yeah, you can do that one. You see? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then the last one is the last one is basically what was the last one? You know the number. Everybody got that that number one. So I think Bhuwana got it right. I can see that. Oh, not this one. I think she sent me some link. Okay, this one. Yeah, so the way it works is I want to find out. So let's say if the length is 4, and I want to find out uh, one of the missing numbers inside. So for example, let's say original array was something like this, right? So it's supposed to be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Instead, I take one of them out. Let's say I take the 4 out, right? So now I need to find this 4, right? And then if I shuffle it, this becomes like this: 3, 5, 1, 2. So how do I find that 4 is missing from here? So you know that if I add all the numbers, the total should be missing 4, right? So generally, if I add 1 to n numbers, 1 to n numbers, the formula is n multiplied by n plus 1 divided by 2. That's the formula. So let's say if n is 2, which means I'm adding 1 plus 2, so that would be 1 multiplied by 1 plus 1 divided by, sorry, so n is 2, right? So 2 multiplied by 2 plus 1 divided by 2. So this would be 3, right? If I'm doing 3, then it's going to be 3 multiplied by, let's say, 4 divided by 2, so that's 6, right? So I already know that the total should be 3, but if one number is missing, then if I add all the numbers in the array and subtract with this number what is supposed to be, then I get the missing number. Everybody got that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so let's say if I have 1 to 100 numbers, right? So I know the formula to add 1 to 100 number, which is n multiplied by n plus 1 divided by 2. So n is 100 here, right? So if I put 100 here, then I would get 100 plus 100 plus 1 divided by 2. So this will become 50 multiplied by 101. So that's 505, I think, right? Now, if I take from the array one out, one number, the first number out, right? One is missing. then if I add all the numbers, then I would get the total of 104, right? Because I took one out. It's supposed to be 505, but I took one out. So I get 404, and if I subtract 505 from 504, I get 1. So that's how it works. Okay. All right. So yeah, I think it's important to think about this, and if you need any help, if you haven't done it, just try it again, and then see how it works. I'll just upload this video by tomorrow or so, so that you can practice it, and then practice is what makes it perfect, right? So
Yeah, I mean, for this method, I tried this thing, reduce, which will add up all the elements in the array.
yeah, reduce will also work. Yes.
Yeah, reduce, I did it with reduce.
Yeah, but again, we haven't done the reduce, right? So yeah, reduce would work as well, but since we haven't done it, uh, I don't want to go into it, because then it would confuse if you haven't done it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
What was the solution for the fourth question?
this is the fourth question, right? Yeah. So this is the solution.
This is a fifth, actually.
This is fifth.
The extending of 5 to 7.
There was a fourth one. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, okay. Let's see. If you have a function that would generate a random number between 1 to 5, and how could you? So you guys know how to generate like random numbers?
Yeah, math dot random. Then we have, but using that function, how to extend to till 7?
Okay. So okay, I'll show you. Hold on just a second. Let me grab some water. Hold on just a second. All right. Yeah. Sorry, I'm back. Um, so let's see. Okay. So the question is, let me remove this. So the question is, um, if you have a function that generates random number between 1 to 5. Okay. So let's see how it works first. So I'm gonna have const random 5. Okay. That's the name of my function. And the way it would work is if I do math dot random, all right, so that produces a random number. So if I console log it, what happens here is that if I
number between 0 to 1.
Yeah, if I do this, and it produces like it doesn't. Let me see. Somehow my inspector, somehow it's very slow today. Let's just use JSBin. Oh, I haven't actually executed the function, that's why. Ren 5. Okay. So yeah, it produces a number between 0 and 1. It's just a long number, right? So if I can multiply, if I want 5, then what I would do is I would multiply this by 4. Okay. So what I would do, it would, let's see, and then add 1 to it. Okay. And you can have like parse, I think it's a parse int. Hold on, that's the function parse int.
It's like floor of that whole 1 plus math branding.
Or Himil, you can directly use, I directly used 5 and then I used 2 fixed 0.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can use that. Yeah, that's good. So math dot to fix, right? Not math docs. So I would do, let's say, let I equal to this. Is that what you're saying, right? And then do return I dot to fixed
Yes.
x
Fixed
and then
0.
0, right? Okay, yeah, that would work as well.
And what I did is into 5 plus 0.5. Because if we do into 5, a number like, yeah, into 5 would be, I think, works too. I don't know why I did on that time plus 0.5.
Okay, let me see.
Because if we do here into 5, then the number will not produce 5. It will always produce less than 5. So what I did,
Yeah.
I did plus 0.5.
Yeah, that's
and
why you would
fixed
do 1 plus. Yeah, that's why you do 1 plus. So, yeah. Somehow it's not. Why is it not working sometimes? Let me just do console log here. Oh, that is why. Because I did return. Return doesn't console log here. So I got 4. Next time I do, I get 2. 4, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you're right.
It's into 5 plus 1 actually.
Oh yeah, 5 plus 1. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And
Emil, doesn't it may produce like more than 5 also, like 6?
no, it would produce 1 to 5. Oh yeah. Let me see. No, yeah.
Actually, I did the floor instead of 2 fix.
Yeah, I think 2 fix creates a problem. Yeah. Or you did floor?
Yeah, wrap everything in the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I did, but instead of 1, I did 0.5. So it should be always be less than like 5.5. So it will give you 5.
Hold on, let me see. No, I think it's supposed. Oh well, it's supposed to be 4 plus. Anyway, yeah.
But it will not produce 5, Emil.
Let me see. I think parse int would do it. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, this also doesn't produce. Let's just see what I comes out.
No, Emil, but we can do 5 here and plus 0.5.
Okay.
Then 6. Yeah.
Okay. 5 plus 0.5 into fix.
Yes. Suppose if number is like 5.99, then plus 0.5. No, that suppose the number is 4.99, so plus 0.5 would be less than 5.5.
Okay. So this.
Yeah, this number math for random into 4 will always be less than 5. Sorry, into 5. If we go math random into 5 will always be less than 5. And what I did plus 0.5, so it should be always be less than 5.5. And 2 fixed will return 5. Yeah, if you do instead of 1, if we do 0.5.
Yeah, but I want the predictability. So 5 plus 0.5. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, if we do fix 2, then it will not go to fix. It will not go beyond this.
That is 2. Just trying to think.
To fix 0.
Yeah, I'm trying to
It
think.
will not go beyond 5.
Okay. Yeah, that is true. But I'm wondering why is it working exactly? Because I need to think about it. It works. Predictability, yeah. So the answer, okay. So yeah, let me think about it. Let me think about what. I think the trick was how you convert integer from the floating point, right? If you use floor, then it basically picks 4. If I do 4.5, it always do 4. Parseint supposed to do it because the 4.5 becomes 5, right? Somehow.
Yeah, I mean with floor I used 1 plus into 5.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would work as well. Then it always, yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah, that would work. So then you always, yeah, okay.
But how you are extending this 5?
Oh
to
yeah,
7?
yeah. So the
I mean, it's not
to
5
do
plus
7,
4,
right?
It's
So,
not the answer, right? That is not the 5
no,
plus
this is just a 5. So the answer is if I were to do, let's say, if I do const, let's say rand 7, right, equal to function. Then I would do what I would do is I already know rand 5 produces 5, right? 1 to 5. Then I would divide this into 5 and multiply with 2, right? And then add 5 to it.
In this question, what I did, I extended the rand 5 and inside it I used closures.
Oh yeah, that. Do you have it somewhere? Okay, it's here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
In the JS, if we go for JS bin.
Oh, in the JS bin. Okay, let me see.
I might understood the question wrong because from my perspective, it was like if we call the same function, then it should return.
Okay, let's see. So you have a random 5, okay, and then inside you've done another random number, which is okay. So you just added the 2 to it.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was giving problem. It was returning as a string. It was treating this number as a string 2. Like it was always coming 2. Suppose the random number will come 3, it will become 32. Random number will come 4, it will become 42. So I did parseint. Then I added it. It was coming properly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you can simply, I mean, the simplest solution. Let's say if I don't, if I my let's say this one returns. Let's say this one returns this, right? Then simple way to do it, because it's already an integer, then I can simply do, return rand 5 plus 2. Simple, because I've already done the math in the rand 5, right? Or if I'm just returning here, if I'm returning not converting an integer, I can do it here as well, the same thing. But there I have to apply some logic. So my original answer was there to basically, let me just do this.
From my end, what I wrote, the same function should again produce 1 to 7. I didn't know like we can create another function like.
No, yeah. So this by extending this the same function. Yeah, you can do the same way, but this was the objective was to extend the function. Right, so I am, why is it producing 22?
It's like it's considering a string. The two, whatever we are adding it is considering
Okay, yeah.
We need to do parse int.
No, we can just do this. Yeah, so here I can actually do that. Let's say plus, I don't know if this is gonna work. Let's see. No, I still have to do that. Yeah, so the plus, I'll tell you what, the plus, if I put plus in front of any string, it will try to convert into a number. So now I get, you see, yeah. The only thing is, now, do you see a problem? Anybody see a problem?
No.
There is a huge problem in this one.
1, 2.
Yes.
1, 2 doesn't come. Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Plus 2.
Because plus 2 doesn't solve that problem, right? That's why the original solution was you do 5 plus rand 5, I guess, and then divided by 5 and multiply by 2. Okay, I have to still convert into, well, why is it undefined? Do you guys see any problem? Oh, I still need to return this. Let's do the same thing. No, it doesn't come now. It comes. Let's do this. All right, let me think. I thought this was the answer. You know what? I'm just gonna return this I. Okay, I was wrong. There's something is also wrong here.
We can divide the number by 5. But you are adding 5 in it. 5 plus this, then into.
Oh yes, my bad.
You're already adding 5 in front.
Yeah,
Five,
that
so
that is why it's doing it. Hold on, let me see. No, this would not work. Hold on, let me see. Let
But
me.
we can do the result which we are getting random 5. We can divide it by 5 and then multiply by 7.
Yeah, that's a better way. Um, yeah. Um, yeah, I have to do +1 here now because I'm not doing it over there. Well, if I do fix here, then I might get it because I'm not doing to fix here. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, now I'm getting it. All right. So
Do we need 2 fixed in rand 7 also? Yeah.
yeah,
we
you need it,
Okay.
right? Because you get a fraction. Yeah.
Yeah, its number would be 3 and then divided by 5. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So now you get it. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. You. So yeah. See, thinking, it's very important. Uh, I had totally forgotten about this one. I had done long time ago. Yeah, I'm gonna remember this solution now because yeah, this is a tricky one.
We are not listening. I'm not listening anything.
Oh, you cannot hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it went down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sometime.
Not audible.
Okay. Can you hear me now though?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's move to. Um, oh, did I close your stuff? Let me just. I'll just keep this open just since I need to copy it. Okay. So last time we looked at um, the data types, right? And any do you guys have any questions on that, or you guys got it properly?
Yeah. No
Okay.
questions.
All right, good. All right, so let's today we can move to let's see what we can do today. Do you guys okay? Let me ask you one thing. Um, there are multiple things we can do.
Hemil, I wanted to do like in our like while our in our project we need to write so many sometimes nested loops,
Okay.
sometimes functions. So even the function what I was writing today, like for the closure,
Yeah.
I was checked. I did so many things. I checked so many things. Then I was able to do that. So can we do it like first of all the nested loops, like loop inside? It's a very basic thing, but still I stuck.
Loop inside a loop.
Yeah, like we can draw star, all these things. Like it's I did it, but again I'm like whenever I do it, I cram it. Then again after some time I forget it.
Okay. All right. So let's do that way. So I was gonna do the next. I think we did a little bit of a data conversion last time. So I was gonna do operators. So yeah, let's go through that. Okay. I was gonna do anyway operators and statements. Okay. So let's start with the operators. Um, do you guys know what an operator is in JavaScript?
Yeah,
Okay. Can you give me an example of an operator?
operator like arithmetic operator, we can add, divide, minus, subtract, multiply.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah. So these are the operators. Yeah. Plus, minus. Um, then this is a remainder. Do you guys know that? So
Modulus we call it, I think.
it's called remainder. So
Yeah.
if I let's say if I divide, let's say let I equal to if I divide 4 by let's say 3, right? I would get 1 point something, right? So you need, but if I just do remainder, then it would give me the remainder of 4 divided by 3, which is what? 1, yes. So this is that remainder operator. And let me do that. Okay, I get 1, right? Um,
Actually, both are 1. Divided by 3 and remainder and quotient both are 1.
yeah, yes. Uh, yeah, so it's yeah, that's right. Um, yeah, so this there are other operators as well. There is a spread operator. Have you guys do you guys know what a spread operator is?
Yeah, I mean, I only know in using arrays and joining arrays, adding arrays.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's a spread operator. If I have let's say an array 1, 2, 3, and we will learn more about it. But I'm just wanna, since I want to cover it systematically. If I put like 3 dots around it, I get, it's a spread operator basically. Okay, so that's another operator. Uh, then yeah, so these are the operators. Let me see what other operators might be. Then the plus. Okay, so if I equal to 1, and if I do plus plus I, what would I get? If I do console log plus plus I.
I guess 2 or 3. No, 2. Yeah, 2.
A 2? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It's double do 1 plus, yeah.
I'll give you a second chance. Yes, it is 2. What is the difference between this and this?
The increment happens before the plus plus I.
Yes.
In I plus plus, increment happens after the out.
So what are the cases where it would differ?
Cases.
So what are the cases where the result of I plus plus and plus plus I would differ?
No idea.
Okay, so let me show you. If I do this one, what would I get?
I think 2 again.
1.
Or 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where it differs. So it was a confusion I created because I did twice.
Yeah.
That's why you would see 2. So I plus plus, if I increment it and console log it in the same statement, you would get 1 because this means incrementing after this statement. Got it?
Yeah, but it should print a whole statement, right? After increment.
No, so that is a trick. So now if I separate this into 2, so if I do this way, I plus plus, and then if I print I, right, then it would increment it, and now after this statement it should be 2, right?
Yeah.
But if I just do it here, which means it will increment it after I run this statement. So let's do this. So if I just simply console log I after this, so the first one, yeah. So always remember this, right? And the same thing with the minus minus also. It's the same thing. If I do minus minus, it would make it 0, but you'll still see 1 here, right? Because you would see 1 and 0 in this case, right? Because it has decremented, but you won't see it. All right. Another operator is if I want to add 1 to I, I can do plus plus. But if I want to add 5 to I can do I plus equal to 5, right? So here I'm adding 5 to I.
Yeah, shorthand notation.
Yeah. So then I would get console log I, that would be 6, right? And similarly, I can do minus equal to, which means I equal to I plus 5, I equal to I minus 5. All right. Logical operators. Do you know what are the logical operators in JavaScript?
Yeah, like greater than, and or.
Yes, and or. So let's say I can say let A equal to true and let B equal to let's say false, right? And if I do console log A, how do you say and here?
With and sign.
Ampersand.
Yeah, ampersand, but I have to do twice.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think I should get it here?
True and false is
False. I don't know. I just said it.
false.
Yeah, false.
Yes, true.
Because in for and, they both have to be true in order for the statement to be result to be true, right?
Yeah.
That's the only case. So if you have a true false, it's false. False true, it's false. False false is false, and only true true is true. If I do or, it's a two pipes basically. Here,
So it's
yeah, here only time it would be false is if both are false. Otherwise, it will be true, right? So true false is true, true true is true. So if I run this, it would be obviously true. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. If I want to do not, how do I do not? Means I want to convert into true to false, false to true.
The hyphen.
Yeah, you simply do this console log this A. This means not. So now true becomes false. Yeah. All right. There is another operator called conditional operator. Have you guys seen a conditional operators?
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. So conditional operator is very simple. So if I want to say, let's say if A is equal to true here, right? And I want to say if A is equal to true, I want to print, let's say, I like it. Otherwise, I don't like it. Okay. So what I can do is I can obviously do if statement, right? If A equal to true, then console log, like, right? Else console log dislike. Something like this, right? So now because it's true, it would give me like, right? But conditional operator is simple. I don't have to do all this stuff. I can simply do this. I can say if a equal to true, then I have to put a question mark. Question mark means what happens when it's true, when this condition is met, right? Then all I have to do is like, and else I would say dislike. All right, and I can just wrap the whole thing into log. So yeah, both are likes, right? So this is a short form of this. So this you will be using a lot. Try to use this a lot as much as possible when you only have like a if and else. It's very simple. Okay. All right. You saw the triple equal sign, right? Why do we use triple equal sign? Anybody knows this?
It compares the type and data type and data value.
Yes.
The other one compare the data value only.
Yes. So if I simply do this, now this is a string, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's make it false. What would this get now?
This one will be dislike, right?
Are you sure?
It should be, but I don't know. It should be.
String is true, actually. String is true.
Yes, it will give me dislike. But how about if I just do, if I do
now
this?
It will be true. I mean, like.
Yes. Anybody know why? Oh, well, this is dislike. Hold on, see if this is false. You know what?
Might be it's not treating A as a like string, or it's just giving as a false or something. Or we should use type of no, not type.
No, let's say if I do triple equal sign, then what do we get? We get both dislikes. Why is that? So okay, when you compare, so instead of, let's say I don't have to really do this. What I can do is when I say equal to true, I don't really need to do true. If I just simply do this, this means I'm saying true. Okay?
Yeah.
If A, which means if A is true. So the way it works is if statement, it always converts whatever is inside that to kind of a logical true or false, right? Because then only it can say if something is true, then run this, else run that. So it's trying to say if A equal to true, then run the first line, or else run the second line, right? Now look what I got. Yes.
Yeah.
So the reason it does this is because of a conversion. So if I do this way, I am explicitly saying that, well, let's just keep this A here and then this. So here I'm saying that I want A to be exactly true, a Boolean, right? And that's why it will say dislike, because it's not a Boolean. But if I simply do this, that means convert string to Boolean. When you convert string to Boolean, what happens? String, if it's an empty string, means it's a false. Okay?
Yeah.
If it's any string, even if I have a false or whatever, that means it's true. Okay? So now it's true. Same thing with the numbers. If I do, let's say 23. So we're trying to convert 23 into Boolean and see if it's true. This here means if 23 is a non-zero number, which means it's true, right? Because it's non-zero. But if I say 0, so 0 is the only number that is false. So a lot of people use this simply like this, but you need to be careful when you do this because it implicitly converts A into, Boolean. If you don't know if A is not a Boolean, I would suggest using this. Okay, so this would take care of it.
Yeah, but that double equals to was unexpected. Can you explain that double equals?
Okay, so first of all, never use double equal anywhere. If you want to compare, always use triple equal. Okay, so triple equal means if A is only condition when it's true is if A is really true. Okay, double equal sign means convert. So let's say if this is, let's say 1, okay, and if I say is A equal to 1, now here's a number and a string, right? So what do you think it would get? It just compares the value. It doesn't compare the type. So it says it's true, even though they're different. But as soon as I do triple equal, it says, oh, yeah, it's not a number. So triple equal is much stricter. It expects the same type on both sides. Otherwise, it will give you false, which is a good thing, right? Because if you're comparing number to number, then only you want to, validate. If I'm comparing string to number, then I need to explicitly convert into. So let's say if I do plus here, plus means convert this into a number, and then I'm comparing, then it would really convert into a number, and now it gives me like, right? Because it converted this A into a number now. Okay, so the double equal kind of thinks, oh, if my both sides are not same type, I will convert them into same type. So in this case, if I have a 1 like this, I don't have to convert 1 into a number. It will just say, oh, I'll convert it if it's a double equal sign. And then it would say, okay, it usually what it will do, it will take this, the first is string, right? So it will convert second into string and then compare basically and say, oh, yeah, they're equal, right? So you need to be careful when you use double equal sign, and I would suggest not to ever use double equal sign. Okay. But it's a common interview question.
Yeah. Can you try with false A equal to, let A equal to false, non-string false?
False?
Yeah.
Okay.
If A equal to...
A equal to what?
True, right?
True?
True, once try true. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, here even if you they're both same type, but now actually true is not false, right? So it has to. So now it's doing this. False equal to true, which is not. False is not true, right? So it will be false. So you get this like. That regardless of double equal sign or triple equal sign. Double equal and difference between is as in double equal try to convert both sides to the same type. But at least it actually after the converting it checks if it's true or not, right? So this case it doesn't matter because they both sides are different values, right? One is false, one is true, which is not equal. So it would say false, right? Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. What about Bhuvneshwari? That she did. Okay, she asked. I missed. Okay, I missed a couple of questions from her. I'll leave the window open. I think she had fast asked a few questions. Okay, I'll keep it open. Sorry. Um, okay, so okay, let's do something else now. Okay, so these are the operators, and so this is called comparison operator, right? Because you're comparing two things, right? Um, okay, so uh, what else? Okay, so now let's move to statements. Um, I'm sure you guys experience with the if else statement, right? Or do you want me to go to the if else statement?
No, no,
No,
no.
if else we are okay.
Are you okay? What about switch?
Which is okay.
Switch okay? All right. So let's go to the for loop since you were having issue, right, Sahil?
Yeah,
I
nested.
didn't understood that loop actually. The Sahil's for loop function in for each loop.
Okay. So, all right. Oh, Bhuvneshwari wants to learn about switch. So let's just um, let's do switch. Okay. All right. So switch is um, when do we use switch? Let's say first. Do you guys know when? So there's a if else statement and there's a switch statement, right? So first of all, when do we use switch, and when do we use if else? Anybody can answer me that?
Like sometimes if we need to compare 2-3 times, like we can use if else if then if it's number of times, then we can go for switch. Case 1, case 2, case 3, then default.
Yes. So basically, let me give you a good example. So if I told you that, what's your JavaScript level? So if I have a variable called JavaScript level, let's say equal to 4, right? And then based on this level, I want to do something, right? In this case, it could have 10 levels, right? So then I have to basically go through, if level is 0, then do this. If 1, then do this, things like that, right? If it's 10 levels. So instead, I can use a switch statement because now I can simply do switch, and then I would just pass the level, and then I have to do case, right? So case, if it's 0, then what would I do? I would simply just say, in this case, I'm going to do something, but I'm just going to say console log. I would just say, you don't know JS, right? Because if your level is 0, you don't know JS. If your level is 1, then I can say some JS. All right, and let's do a few more. And let's say if it's 3, okay? We're not gonna cover 2, let's say, okay? Then some more JS. You know what? Let's do this. Between 1 to 3, I don't want to cover. I just want to cover 5. Oh, sorry, 8, 9, and 10. A lot of people think that they know switch statement, but they're often a problem. Okay, so you know all JS. Okay, now let's look at and tell me what you get result. Okay, am I missing something here?
Default.
Yes. So FAULT, and this one is let's say I don't want level not defined, right? Okay, so now let's run this and you tell me what the result would be, right? So if I say let's say switch 0, what would I get?
You misspelled.
Oh,
The
my
answer
bad.
should be Docker.js, I guess.
If both, I guess you don't know JS and level not defined. No, one second. Break. There should be a break, right, for switch. To
Yes.
break out of this.
Yeah, break.
Yes. I was just waiting for you. And why do we need breaks? Anybody can tell me?
If it's matched, if the case is matched, it should come out of switch.
Yeah. But what if it
Or
does?
else it will go.
Let's say we're not going to add the break right now, and let's just see what happens, right? So if I do 0, did I make something here? Hold on. Maybe I missed something. Let's see. Unexpected token. Hold on. Let me see if I missed something. JavaScript. Switch statement. Most of the people don't use switch statement that much. So you have a case block break, right? And then okay, oh yeah, you don't really need to. My bad. You don't really need to do switch. You just yeah. So here it says level not defined. So because I have a 4, right? Level is not defined.
Default is executed.
Yeah. If I do 0, what would I get?
0, I guess both 0 and default.
Now let's look at it. I get everything.
Oh, yeah.
Because you didn't put break, that's why I guess.
So why does it match all the other cases? Let's say why does it match all the cases? Why does it match all the rest of the cases?
Because it will check, and with the break, with the help of break, once it's true, suppose case 0 is true, it will break there. But and suppose we put case 10.
No,
okay,
but it's
if you go here, can you put 10 here? I just want to understand. Can you put 10 here?
Sure.
So I guess there should be 2 values. You know, all JS and level not defined.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because break statement, what it does, it just break there. You cannot go beyond it.
Yeah, but okay. So this is the reality of the case statement is that in the case statement or switch statement we call it, is that once it meets the first match, it will execute everything after that.
Yeah.
So here, if I put 8, then in that case it'll try to match with 0. It doesn't match. So they will move forward to 8 because we don't have anything beyond below, right? After that. So now it matches the 8, so it'll print, and then it will print everything after that. That's why you need to have a break. So if I put 9 here, then it would not run 0 and 8, right? Because it's not matching. But once it has a first match, which is 9, it will run everything after that. So break means once you match it, exit it. And why is that? Why do we have that? I mean, even though I'm not matching with, let's say, 9 and 10, why is it running it? Do you, any idea there? So you don't need the break in the default because it's already the last one. Even if you put it, it doesn't really matter.
I didn't understand the question exactly.
Okay, so let's say if I put 9, right? So then it would start with 0. It doesn't match. Move on.
Yeah.
It will try to match with 8. Doesn't match. It will match 9. So it would execute what's inside 9, right? Then it would go to 10.
Yeah.
It doesn't match 10, but it still prints 10 and default. Why? If I don't...
If we put break...
I know. I understand that, but why is it running even if it's not matching 10?
Because it keep on going. It just check the first condition, the case. After that, it doesn't check the case.
The functionality of switch is execute from where it matches.
Yes.
I think.
That is it. That's the trick. The functionality of switch is there are cases where you want to do that way. Right? Once you match it, run everything after that. So that is the trick. Okay? That's why if you don't want that behavior, then you would put break. Okay? Got it? So if else statement would never do that. If else means if this is the statement, after that, I don't need to put a break. It just runs only the condition that it's meeting. Got it? The case statement means after the first match, execute after everything after that, unless you put a break, and then it exits. Okay. Also, another thing is, you would want to use most of the time you want to use if else statement, because what happens if I have two variables like a and b, let's say, for example. Let's say if I have a and b, okay, and I'm trying to figure out if a equal to 0 and b equal to 0, do this. If a equal to 5, then do this. All this condition, I cannot do this in a switch statement because it would be too much confusing. The switch statement is simple. When you have one thing you are comparing and you have too many conditions to match, then you do a switch statement. Otherwise, you always use if else statement. Okay. Yeah. So, I think it's important to know. Bhuvaneshwari, you got it, right? Okay, good. All right, so now let's move. So, do you guys know what do you guys want to do while loop? While loop is also, let's cover it. It's very simple, right? So, how many types of while loop do we have in JavaScript?
While, do while.
While and do while, yes. So while would be if I have, let's say, while I can say, let's say n is less than 3, right? Then I can say, n plus plus. Let's say n equal to 0 here, right? Okay. So what would I get here?
0,
Mm-hmm.
1.
Okay. All right. Let's look at it. Yep. 0, 1, 2. Right. Simply because I have a 0, and it's while basically run it as long as n is less than 3, and then it exits. So if I um, once I, because I'm incrementing every time, so it will be 0, 1, 2, and it will come to the 3, but it will compare it. It will not do it. Okay. Uh, do loop is similar, but the way it works is you would say do something. So let's do the same thing here. And then I would say while n is less than 3. What do I get here now?
0, 1, 2, 3. 3 is less than 3.
Yeah, it checks first, but it will get the same thing. So it does thing,
Yeah.
and then it checks in the end.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's the only. It's very simple. Um, if I give you an example, say, okay, which one is better, for loop or while loop?
I'll go for.
For?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, do one time. I mean, do while executes one time without any checking condition.
Yeah, the first is always
on-
runs, right?
Yeah.
So if I just, let's say, so the difference is, let's say if I say, why is it nothing? If I say if okay, you see now. Well, let me just do the first one.
Take n equal to 2.
Okay. So
If you take let n equal to 2, I mean, I think example.
2. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because you already passed it. And it,
Yeah.
well, yeah. So, and one interesting thing in a log I can do here. So in this log, I want to say while. So I can differentiate between which one ran when, and I'll just say do while. Okay. So now let's look at it. So it's running only do while, because here it checks the condition before it runs it. Here it runs it and then checks the condition. Okay, so that's the only difference. All right. For loop is very important. So let me tell you one thing. So if somebody wants to optimize it, right? I'm going to ask you a question since most of you know for loop. Okay. Let's say I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. Okay. Now, what is the problem here?
Problem? I didn't understand the question.
Okay, do you see any problem with this statement here, this for loop that I wrote?
You need to define the variable let or var before I.
Yeah, because this is making it a global variable. So first thing is always need to define the variable. Okay. If I want to define another variable j, where would I do it?
Inside it?
Yeah. No, you can do it here as well. So you would do this j equal to 0 as well if I want to do it this way. Okay.
And what's the benefit of it? Like, why do we need, like, in real scenarios, like, why do we use like this?
Okay, let's say if I want to do j++, let's say I want to increment j twice. So I would just say j++ again. Now let's look at console log. First I. Well, let's just say console log. I already have it. I is I. And j is j, right? You see what's happening? Let's just do one at a time so that it's much easier to see.
But the condition is only I right here.
Yeah.
Arranging this kind of loop
So
actually.
I is gonna run 0 to 9, right? Makes sense. Right?
Yeah.
Hold on just a second. What do I get for j now if I run j? Can anyone tell me?
Doubling string. I mean, you're incrementing to it.
Yeah,
see
but
the output.
So what numbers would I get?
First time 1, 3, 5 odd numbers.
I guess I don't know. Like, might be it. It would be like 1, 1, 2, 2, like this.
What would the maximum number?
1, 3, 5.
Maximum.
I should be
No.
1, 3, 5, 7.
You didn't define
9,
the maximum number.
11, 13, 19, I guess.
Yeah.
19. But
yeah.
But where did you define that j should be less than or equal to something like that?
I did not define it, but it's driven by I, right? So how many times it goes in the loop is determined by this condition,
yeah.
I less than 10, right?
Got it. I got it.
Yeah. So let's run this. Yeah, so you're right, up to 19, right? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, and 19. Okay. Okay, so this is how you can see for loop in JavaScript is way more than that. I think you can do same thing in Java, but I just wanted to what you can do with it, right? This one you can actually do j plus what if I do this? Oh, plus equal to 5, I should say.
Same 10 times. I mean, 1, 5, no, 1, 6.
Yep. So yeah, it would add somehow minus, like, yeah, it would have 5 to every time. So you know the power of this thing, right? Because you can do more, but here so there are only 3 parts mainly. Okay, so first part is where you initialize your variables. Second part is this run only one time, right? Second one is a condition that checks, but this checks every loop. It checks, oh, did I meet my limit? Did I meet my limit? And this also runs every time. So let me make it simple. Let I equal to 0, I less than, let's say if I have an array. Right? And I can simply do here, well, right? LE and G. Yeah, somehow my browser is really bad this time.
You mean length spellings?
Oh yeah.
Spelling of length.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you. Okay, so now what is a one? There is a one. I mean, the syntax is correct, but there is a one tiny issue here. Oh, how can I improve this?
Less than or equal to? I less than or equal to a dot length?
No, that's fine, because length is
Okay.
what? Length is what? 4?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically it's correct. This is not a problem, but I need to improve the speed of this thing.
It's like, okay.
Okay, yeah, it's a tricky one a little bit. So for example, the length, right? I told you just that this compares every single time. So it will be first I equal to 0, then it would say 0, is it less than a dot length, right? If it's then it would do another loop. Now then it says 1, is 1 less than a dot length, and it would do another one, right? So every time, if this array is 1,000 times long, then it's actually finding a length 1,000 times, which is kind of useless. So always do this. Right? And then simply use len here. Now it only does it one time. Make sense?
Yeah. Optimize. I mean,
you optimize it, right? So when you go for an interview, you need to be optimal, so that the guy knows that you actually know how to optimize your code. Like always use let here. Always use, find the length of the array first before you using it, right? Things like that. Yeah, okay. So for loop is simple, but I just want you to, I wanted to still show you what you can do with the for loop. Okay, and I know that you can learn something new, some new things that you can use really. I think sometimes some of the basic stuff that you think, you know, oh yeah, I already know for loop, right? But you may learn something new here. So I thought, okay, maybe it's important to show you guys. All right. All right, so let's see. So now let's look at that problem you were having, Sahil. You wanted some loop inside a loop.
Yeah, like I don't know whether we need it in real time or not. Like there are some questions like they call it design patterns in Java.
Okay.
You need star, you need to draw rectangle, pyramid, so many things they can draw it with for loops.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. Like, should we go for it or not? Like a switch case. You said like we don't need to go for it, but we did it. So for that, if we don't need those things, then we can skip. Otherwise, I think we can.
No, for loop inside a loop is very important, and you might be using a lot. So for example, let's say if you have a matrix. So if I have an array, okay, and do you know how to create a two-dimensional array?
Two-dimensional array, we did it long time ago.
So like something like this. Let's say if I have 1, 2, like 1, 2,
yes,
3,
you need to
4, 5, and 6. You know, 7, 8, and 9. Something like this. So this is where you need two-dimensional arrays. So the way you would do it is you have three take this matrix, right, and you create rows and columns, right? So this has 3 rows, correct? So let's say each row is an array. So let's take the first row, and it has 3 elements, 1, 2, 3. Then I would do second row, which is 4, 5, and 6, right? Then I would do third row, which is 7, 8, and 9. Make sense? Did I make any mistakes here? Oh. Do you see how it works? So outer array, this is the outer array, right? It has 3 elements. And each element has 3 elements as number. Okay, so what is the length of A here? If I do
3.
yes, so console log A dot length. Okay, this would be 3, right? Now if I want to iterate through and print all the numbers, how do I do that? I would have to use two-dimensional array. So let's do that.
Yeah.
So let's get the, I'm gonna call it let rows equal to A dot, right? As I told you before that you need to, if you iterate through it, first find the length, right? So it has 3 rows, we already know that. Okay, so I can do this for let I, let's call it R, right? R for rows. equal to 0 to R less than rows R plus plus, right? And if I simply console log this, let's say a dot rows R. Let's call this a matrix so it's very easy to look at it, right? Matrix, and we call it matrix here, and then so I need to find the row of each row of a matrix, right? So if I print this now, I would get three different arrays, right? Okay, so I get the first element is this, second is this, third is this, right? Now for each element, I can do the same thing. So all I have to do is copy this and print it inside. Now here, I'm just gonna say column, and column, right? So what do I do here? So for each row, I need to find the length of the element that is inside. So now, so like for example, R equal to 0, I get this back, right? So I need to find the length of this. So what I would do here inside, I would say matrix dot R. That gives me this, right? So I can say let cols means columns equal to length of this. So this would be length of each, which would be same in this case, right? Because it's a square matrix. And instead of rows, I can use the columns here now. Correct? And now I can simply do matrix. And I already know if I do R, then I'm getting the row. Then I just need to get the column. Then I get the column. So if I do console log this, I would get each element like this, zigzag, in the zigzag. So if I do this, right? Make sense?
Yeah, but it needs practice from our side, I think.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm gonna give you some homework related to like um, this matrix. So you might